Today's episode is a warning, if anything. When illegal alien crime explodes, ICE agents become the targets and elected Democrats start joining the riots. Now, this isn't politics. This is public safety on fire. Let's start here.
Know more information about the two murders that investigators say were carried out by the same man just days apart, first in Greensboro and then in Colfax. Now, Jose Christian Bravo Martinez, a non-U.S. citizen, is accused of both murders and faced a judge today in court, although virtually. Today, the DA put the cases together. On November 16th, Greensboro officers responded to Upland Drive, where they found Joaquin Hernandez outside with a gunshot wound to the head. Investigators say it stemmed from a domestic situation, and multiple witnesses identified Bravo Martinez as the man who pulled the trigger. 1 week later, deputies say Bravo Martinez struck again, this time in Colfax, where 47-year-old Derek Leach was found dead from a gunshot wound at a home on Bolston Road.
There were 3 witnesses to the shooting. They identified Mr. Bravo Martinez, the defendant before you today, as being the shooter. Following the shooting, Martinez took the cell phones of the witnesses and demanded a vehicle key from one of them at gunpoint before fleeing the scene in a 2004 Toyota Celica.
Now, Bravo Martinez is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, as well as some various armed robberies and several traffic offenses. Now, right now, he's being held with no bond and could possibly face the death penalty.
So, a man here illegally, 2 murders in 1 week, execution-style shots to the head. You have witnesses everywhere, carjacking, armed robbery, fleeing police. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. He should have never been here to begin with. Point blank, period. This isn't rare. This isn't isolated. This is what happens every time enforcement gets blocked, slowed, or sabotaged. And speaking of sabotage, let me say this really quick before we continue, because the next clip shows exactly what happens when people don't protect their information, their home, or their identity. Honestly, I didn't realize how exposed I was until it got personal. My number was out there. My old passwords out there. And the crazy part is, I thought I was being careful. I don't click weird links. I use very strong passwords, but none of that matters when your information is already floating out there in the internet. And it's not just social media either. It's your email, your bank account, your whole digital life. And this is why I use Aura.com, the sponsor of today's video. They remove your personal info from data broker sites. They scan the dark web 24/7 and alert you the moment your information shows up in a leak or breach. They monitor your credit, your bank accounts, and your social security number. They even bundle in a password manager, antivirus, VPN, and identity theft insurance, all in one app. Since using Aura, I've seen my data pulled off over 20 broker sites. Imagine how much of your info is out there, celebrity. If you've never checked whether your information has been exposed, now is the time. Go to aura.com/kingdomreacts and start your 14-day free trial on us. By the way, that link is in the description. You might be shocked at what's already out there. I was, but at least now I know I'm protected, and I know I'm doing my part in helping you protect yourself. And now that we have you and your family safe, let's talk about this ICE ambush plot in Virginia.
Of a chilling plot to attack ICE, potentially with explosive rounds. The man on the right is John Bennett. He served as an assistant principal at a high school in Virginia Beach. DHS says the case is indicative of the more than 1,100% increase in assaults against ICE agents. Joining us now is ICE Director Todd Lyons. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Rather disturbing details that we are learning about that.
Yeah, Sandra, thanks for having me. It's really scary because, unfortunately, that's the day-to-day lives now of every men and women in ICE, whether it's a special agent, deportation officer, or our trial attorneys. We're constantly under a barrage of attacks. And unfortunately, a lot of these attacks are being driven by some crazy rhetoric that are coming out of a lot of elected officials. And it's really sad because now you have, plots like this. You have ramming incidents up more than 800%. The doxing is just getting unreal, and it's really scary times right now, just for us being out there doing our law enforcement mission every day.
As far as the numbers are concerned, the death threats against ICE officers, the numbers that we're looking at here are staggering. 8,000% increase. So How do you combat this? And how are ICE officers able to carry out their jobs? Or are you going to get to a point where there's such a dip in morale you start to lose some?
A school administrator, an assistant principal, and his brother caught planning to lure ICE agents under fake pretenses and kill them with armor-piercing rounds. I got to slow down when I talk sometimes. I want y'all to let that sink in. A teacher sitting in a restaurant talking about hunting ICE officers because media and politicians convinced them ICE is kidnapping people. This is coordinated radicalization, y'all. You don't get to murder plot by accident. And it only unfortunately escalates from here. And that's why I couldn't be an ICE officer. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and right now, you know, I'm not mentally equipped for that. I'll be Minnesota. ICE arrests a previously deported violent offender. A crowd forms. Riot starts. Objects thrown. Police forced to use gas, and look who walks into the chaos. 2 Democrat state lawmakers. Yep. Not calming things down, not de-escalating anything. Running straight into a federal arrest scene and then complaining when riot control hits the perimeter. They didn't join the solution. They actually added fuel to the chaos. And while all of that is happening, here's the part the media, they just pray you never see.
Jessica, 2 million in 1 year are gone. So according to my calculations, that will be 8 million by the end of this term.
It won't be.
So when you get rid of 8 million illegals, you know what happens? Crime goes down. Rent goes down. Health insurance goes down. Car insurance goes down. Those things
aren't happening.
Okay, we're just getting started, Jessica.
Oh, okay.
It's supply and demand. What do you think is going to happen when you get 8 million?
At least we're getting started, Jessica. You guys didn't do crap.
That's not true.
It lowers
Biden
everything.
was
That means
deporting more
classrooms
people.
get lighter. That means everything goes down, Jessica. Wages go up, crime goes down. It's very simple. Even you can understand it. Now, why would ICE be at Home Depot? Why would these illegal aliens be at Home Depot? Because you said they weren't coming to steal jobs. You said they weren't coming to cut our wages and wire the money back to Honduras. You said they were fleeing persecution, and these were all asylees. They were just fleeing violence. Okay, again, everything you said was wrong. Home Depot's having a great quarter. Did you know they beat expectations? $41 billion in revenue. And when the rates drop, the stock's going to pop. That's how that works, too. I'd invest in Home Depot.
2 million deportations in under a year. 8 million projected by the end of his term, which would then beat Obama's record, right? Crime down. Housing pressure seems to be dropping, jobs opening up. When ICE actually enforces the law, the country stabilizes. But as you just saw, that stability is exactly what activists and lawmakers are fighting against. And the next clip shows you how serious enforcement is about to get.
In a week from the beginning of the administration, and even if you keep going at the pace you're going at, that's a dent in the illegal alien population. People would deport, who are deportable aliens right now. So what do you say to those people who say, this is great, but it's nowhere near enough?
Then come put a badge and gun on and give us a hand. ICE is hiring record numbers. Bottom line is, I just said just about 650,000 deportations. That is several 100,000 more than the record that was back in 2012. So it was already a historic operation. Second of all, you got to consider the people who have left the country out of fear of being deported. Was over 1.6 million of them. So there's well over 2.2 million left the country already. And that's been the part of the plan from the beginning. We knew if we send over 1,000 ICE teams out there across the country, we send a message to the whole world. You enter this country illegally, we're looking for you. And by sending that message, by having anything, ICE is one of the reasons we have the most secure border in the history of the nation right now, because people aren't coming because they know there's consequences. So between that record number of deportations, a record number of self-deports, we're already having a historic deportation operation. But hold on tight, we're hiring 10,000 more. That's going to be on duty by mid-January. That's tripling the size of enforcement mobile operations. So if you think the numbers are historic now, wait till next year.
Ooh.
Well, that's music to my ears.
I know that's right. Tom Homan drops the hammer. 10,000 more ICE agents being hired. Operations tripling in the next couple of months, by January. We're talking about the largest federal immigration enforcement expansion in modern history. And now you understand why certain states and certain politicians are panicking, right? Because while ICE gears up, they're trying to pull a rug out from under y'all.
Major changes to the nation's food assistance program could leave thousands of people without help that they rely on.
One restriction within President Donald Trump's mega bill removes SNAP eligibility for refugees, asylum seekers, and those granted legal protection for humanitarian reasons. And 10 News reporter Alana Mutnick is explaining these changes and what they mean for the people who've come here to our country seeking safety. Alana?
That's right, John, Brittany. These changes are going to affect thousands. Refugee service providers in Tennessee say this is a complete barrier for these already vulnerable communities. Refugees and asylees are legally protected under U.S. and international law. They go through extensive vetting, and now they are set to lose their food assistance entirely.
What's happening is the system in which they arrived is being stripped away. The promises that they arrived under are being rescinded.
Noah Jones with Bridge Refugee Services works with 250 clients here in Knoxville. Some have received their partial November SNAP payment, probably for the last time.
Based on a cold reading of the USDA memo, there is the potential that funds that hit anytime after November 1st and the restarting happening can eventually be pulled back.
Another Tennessee refugee organization says this change could devastate families across the country, which is on par with estimates from the Congressional Budget Office that suggests about 90,000 people in these groups will have lost SNAP benefits in an average month.
A lot of them are coming from having lost everything. And so they're starting at ground zero, and those SNAP benefits really do help with laying stability for them as they're building life in the U.S.
Signe Anderson with the Tennessee Justice Center says SNAP was never available to illegal immigrants.
The majority of people who participate in the SNAP program are children, they're seniors, they're individuals with disabilities.
This move stripping away decades of legal precedent.
They're people who we as the United States have decided should be here because of certain circumstances that are happening in their countries.
President Trump's mega bill doesn't just strip asylees and refugees of food assistance. Trafficking victims previously certified by the Department of Health and Human Services and some special immigrant visa holders who worked with U.S. forces are also ineligible now. All that and additional information on new work requirements and states having to shoulder some of these SNAP costs can be found at WBIR.com.
Alana, thank you. And if you or anyone you know is in need of food assistance, you can scan the...
So 21 Democrat attorneys general just demanded the USDA provide SNAP benefits for non-citizens, which includes the illegals, food stamps, while Americans are getting priced out of groceries. The same people sabotaging ICE are now demanding taxpayers feed the people ICE is trying to remove. I mean, we knew what the shutdown was about anyway. This isn't compassion, it's policy warfare, which leads perfectly to this.
I don't know why the liberal and the Democrat hate this country. Maybe they need to move out of here and live people like us. Have a good life. Look at this. This is not free. We've all earned it. Work hard, pay taxes, adapt, be an American. Living the American dreams. That ain't easy. Still got a lot of shit to pay. But you know what? You can own it. If you're liberal, you hate it, you can pack your shit and move on to a shitty country somewhere. It's up to you.
Preach, my brother.
We'll stay here.
Ooh.
I don't know why the liberal and the Democrat hate this country.
An illegal immigrant, man. Someone who waited, studied, learned the language, paid the fees, looks into the camera and says what millions are feeling. If you hate this country so much, why don't you just leave? It's quite simple. You know, it's common sense math, if you will. That's not hate. That's patriotism. That's someone who understands what America is supposed to be. ICE is under attack from criminals, teachers, politicians, riots, and so much more. All this TDS going around. But the numbers don't lie. America is getting safer. It's the laws are actually being enforced. Now, if you made it to the end of this video, we should actually write, enforce the law. Enforce the law. Exclamation, exclamation. Now, y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.